We are talking about dumb things again, which is my favorite topic. We have done stories and angles though, so today let's talk about some signings. Names that got the nod and the fan base shouted, "What?" and it all worked out okay. So I am Simon Miller, and you know what? Let's right some of these debutante wrongs. Number 10, the Mean Street Bossy. So during the height of the Attitude Era in 1999, the WWF signed the Mean Street Bossy. On paper, this sounds nuts. Now, Joey Abs was a trained wrestler, but Pete Gas and Rodney were legit friends of Shane McMahon. Now they were on TV. How did this happen? Well, nepotism, but still. They, of course, were just stooges for Shane, but something wonderful happened soon after. All of this worked, and I mean it. The trio got serious heat as they bumped their ass off for their buddy, and the amount of times they helped McMahon win genuinely riled up the crowd. They also totally understood their roles, so were very entertaining. This was really good. So yes, it sounds dumb, but you gotta watch it play out. And even today, people talk about the Mean Street Bossy with genuine love and affection. That's crazy, but man, it was the best, mostly as wrestling never makes sense. Number 9, Goldberg. So this was 2016, and I actually don't think too many people minded. Enough time had passed. It was fun to see Bill Goldberg again. The issue and worry was when he was last in WWE, it had not gone well, because Goldberg and management did not see eye to eye. I get that too. Vince McMahon wanted Bill to work longer matches, and no fan wanted that. We all knew what made Bill work. For whatever reason, somebody had learned though, and man, this ruled. Go back to that Survivor Series. Word is it was Brock Lesnar's idea, but within 1 minute and 32 seconds, Goldberg had run through the beast and left the world stunned. It was awesome. That led to their WrestleMania 33 match 2, which could be the best 5-minute fight ever. And all of this was just fun. Sort of went badly after this as we got carried away, but this 6-month period was perfect and made up for what we did back in 2003. It just goes to show you don't have to overthink things. Do what works. That's it. And it's wrestling in a nutshell. It's not hard. Number 8, Raven. Word has always been Vince McMahon did not like Scott Levy. Who knows why? When Raven returned to the company in 2000, the rumor has always been McMahon asking Jim Ross, who the hell rehired that guy? JR had an answer. He had been super over, so why don't we do something with him? This was true too, and while the machine never got properly behind him, he was a solid part of the hardcore division, and every single thing he did worked. You'd have to imagine even Vince admitted his errors eventually because Raven was used a lot for a good couple of years. Plus, yes, it hurt ECW. You never want to see that, but McMahon did. And look what happened the year after. Wrestling would never be the same again. Number 7, the Public Enemy. Johnny Grunge and Rocco Rock lasted 1 month with the WWF. Whoops. This was 1999, and after running afoul of backstage politics, they were rejected from the company and went back to ECW. They then joined WCW, and that wasn't very good either. As some will remember, they loved tables too, so they did help usher in a new era, whether they realized it or not. They helped lay the foundations for the Dudley Boys. This is because it was the APA who had beaten the Public Enemy out of the promotion, so when Bubba Ray and Devon joined, they had a ready-made story. We came from the same place, we have a similar attitude, but we're not going to leave as easily as the last guys. So it was accidental genius, and when they started hurling people through these tables, the fans ate it up. I'm sure this would have happened eventually, but it did help no end. Somebody had to fail for others to succeed in their place. Number 6, Mick Foley. Do you want to know how much Vince McMahon didn't want to hire Mick Foley? He told Jim Ross he was only doing it to prove that JR had no idea what he was talking about. The man is insane. Ross did actually know what he was doing, and even though Cactus Jack got transformed into Mankind, Foley understood characterization in wrestling to such a degree, he went and figured it out. He also gave The Undertaker his best feud in years, and in many ways revived that persona too. Mick was always a huge asset. As we know, he also made his matches feel dangerous, which the World Wrestling Federation also needed in 1996, and look what eventually happened. Foley became one of Vince's closest confidants. That doesn't happen by fluke. Even McMahon saw the genius here, and today Mick is one of the best of all time at what he did. I mean that too. He remains supremely underrated. Number 5, the New World Order. In 2002, we're talking about Hulk Hogan, Kevin Nash, and Scott Hall re-signing with WWE. The rest of the roster was flabbergasted by this, and they'd all seen what this trio had done in WCW behind the scenes. Nobody wanted that. 3 known troublemakers coming back to wind everybody up. The issue was we were past the invasion angle, which hadn't been great, and the company needed something new. Nash, Hall, and Hogan were megastars, so it was always going to happen, and at first the story was they were there to kill the promotion. McMahon was sick of Ric Flair's dual ownership, so the NWO could now take everything down. It didn't happen, so you can say the story didn't work, but something else did. The WWE fan base remembered that Hulk was a pivotal part of their childhood, so cheered him like it was 1985. We got carried away as Hogan won the title, but before that, this helped no end. And of course, we got that classic match at WrestleMania 18 with The Rock. So it's hard to say this signing was stupid in hindsight. It actually gave the WWE a shot of adrenaline it desperately needed. It went bad eventually because Hogan can't help himself, but still, for a few months most people agreed this was excellent. Number 4, Bob Backland. Everybody was baffled when Bob Backland returned to the WWF in 1992. He looked like a PE teacher as he wore a tracksuit and didn't seem to fit at all given the catchphrase at the time was the new generation. Bob felt like anything but, especially as he wrestled right out of the 80s. That was his era. What shifted, though, is that the company and Backland realized this, so switched gears, and man, this was great. From nowhere, the former WWF champion became totally unhinged and delusional, and just wanted to take his frustrations out on the younger generation. He even won the title again, which wasn't the best idea, but it did reintroduce the feeling that anything can happen. If you go back and watch it now, it really does take off in a way that nobody saw coming. It was like, please hate me because I am so uncool. Backland was an absolute treat. Number 3, Lord Tensai. This one is a little bit of a stretch, but stay with me. When Matt Bloom was brought back to WWE in 2012, it was awful. The man was straddled with the Lord Tensai gimmick, which was never going to work. The entire audience knew he used to be Albert, so shouted Albert at him constantly. It also ignored the great work he had done in Japan, where he had totally reinvented himself, but look what happened afterwards. This is why the signing was genius. After the NXT system was rejiggled around, somebody needed to be moved into the head trainer role, and Bloom got the nod. Turned out he was awesome at this, and he is still there today with people around him shouting from the rooftops how effective he is. The new recruits love this guy, as does management. I don't think anybody saw that when he returned over a decade ago, but honestly, the whole structure could be completely different without him. Matthew found his calling after the ring, and he's been hitting home runs ever since. Number 2, Nia Jax. There was certainly some surprise when Nia Jax was released in 2021, and then more surprise when she returned in 2023. That's the wrestling fan base for you. Jax made her comeback in the Royal Rumble that year, and I'm not sure if people knew what to expect, but Triple H had a plan. He was going to make this Nia the best version yet. Mission success. Because not only has Jax improved all around, but she totally understands her role. You're never going to get anything outside of her wheelhouse, but who cares? It just means you know what to expect, and she's gotten really good at it. Her overall character is way better too, and she has been a huge asset to SmackDown after winning the title in 2024. I assume she's only going to improve too. So this has been really great. More power to her. Number 1, Logan Paul. I mean, this is still controversial today. If you know, you know. It doesn't mean you just forget about what's happening outside of the wrestling world. But when WWE did sign Logan Paul in 2021, eyebrows were raised. What were we doing, and what was the point other than serious social media power? Well, for one reason or another, Paul took this way more seriously than expected, and yep, he got really good. Quality matches with Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, Rey Mysterio, and Kevin Owens surprised a lot of people, and I would guess Logan is only going to improve if he carries on this path. I mean, it barely makes any sense. And sure, Paul gets to rehearse all his matches beforehand, but to perform at his level is still crazy. Not everyone can do that, and he really was a surprise package. It is proper 2 + 2 = potato. There's also constant teases that Logan Paul may take this on full time one day, and if he does and dedicates himself to the sport, well, who the hell knows where the bar is? That's quite a scary thought. We shall wait and see. Know of any other dumb signings that actually turned out to be genius? Make sure you leave us a comment below before you like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Then please click the video on the screen to carry on your wrestling trivia journey. But otherwise, you take care, my friends, and I will talk to you again on the next one.